Hi, today I'd like to show you Just Got Paid by ZZ Top. I'm tuned to open E, E, B in the middle, high E. I'll play a little bit of it for you, and then I'll take you through the entire arrangement, including some of the slide licks. Almost everything in this song is very, very doable on a fretless cigar box guitar. Alright, that's the main riff there. There's a couple ways to do it. The way I put in the tab is kind of the easier way. It's a middle string, 3rd fret, open high, 3rd fret high, open high, middle string 3rd fret, high string again, open, 3rd on the low string, pull off, and then high string. I like to do it using the 5th fret instead of the open string for the first little bit. That does involve a lot of moving around. If you've been playing for a while, then it won't be a problem for you. If you're new, don't worry about it. I only do that because I'm muting down here. And you can kind of tell on the record that it's quite muted. And I think I get closer to the feel that way. But if you're happy here, it's a real subtle difference. So the song plays that lick 3 times. On the 3rd time, instead of playing the last high string, it shoots up to here to be what be, for us, about front 19. Right around there. I'll show you that slow. And I find that note, once I found it, I notice that my hand hits there. So I know that I'm kind of close. The one thing I don't want to do is go past it. That would sound terrible. So you got a second to sort of slide into it. Like that. And then it waits for 8 beats for some random reason. And then the first verse starts. It does the main lick 6 times. And then it goes up to these chords, E and D. That's just 12 and 10, and then back to the lick. And then it goes up here again. Then it goes to G, which is 3, then to 5, which is A, and then back to that riff. So obviously getting that lick is really, really important. The rest of the song is, most of it's really quite easy. The second verse is the same as the first verse, and after you've done the lick twice, at the end of the verse, it varies it and goes to a stop. The stop will be on 5, so it's like. Now there's been some licks, slide licks scattered throughout. I'm not going to really talk about them right now, but at this point, there is a lick that you can probably do quite well if you can get up here to fret 17. And it's 17, slide to 5, over to 17 on the middle, back to 17. It's pretty quick, so you barely hear that note on the middle string. And that's 15, 15, 12. And then it does something interesting. it goes to a note that's not exactly in tune with everything, and it sits there. And then it works its way up to the 15. And it just barely makes it to the 15. And this is called what's called a tension. This is actually ninth. And that causes a tension in the music. So that gets us into the solo section of the song. And by the way, that stop on 5, they hold for 8 beats. And that lick is going on during the 8 beats, but that's how long you hold it for. And then we're into the solo section or bridge of the song. And it has 3 main riffs to it. The first one is 5. So 5 is A, and then open is E, so it's A and E. Does that 9 times. I'm not going to do that 9 times here, but that's what it does. 9 times. That seems like an uneven number, but I think they're actually including the 8 bars where the band isn't playing, or the rhythm guitar isn't playing anyway. And then, so it's more of an even number. And then we go up here to fret 10, which is D, and then down to A. Same feel. We do that 4 times. And then we go to open E with a different feel. Now this is the basic rhythm that's going on in this section of the song. There are other things going on. First of all, there's lead going on. And then there's some other guitars that are doing different inversions of these chords and stuff like that. But this is just the fundamental that would get you through the solo. It does that 8 times. And then it goes to these shots on 7. So it's quite a lot to deal with, actually, the middle of the song, so you might want to save that a little bit later. And there's a lot of soloing going on in the middle of the song. The scale for the soloing is E minor pentatonic or E blues, although I don't hear the extra note in the lead licks, but could be there. And a good way to approach it is from fret 12. 12, 10, 12, 10, 8. And then you can go over here for 12, or down to here to 5. I kind of like going, because that's where the lick is, right? You can find a lot of licks in there, and you can go up from there, 12, 15, 17, and even up where we were before. He plays a lot of stuff an octave higher, so you won't be sounding exactly like him, but you can get some of the licks pretty close if you want to like loop it or have a friend play the rhythm. So anyway, we were down to this part. Does that 8 times, and then it goes to 7, which is B, and stops. And there's a lead lick there. And we can do that lick, which is really cool. So that's 12, sliding down to 10, and then quickly going over to the middle string to hit 12 again. Tricky thing to do, it's kind of like what we did up here, but this is a really good thing to get good at. Dwayne Allman is the first guy I heard do it way back a long time ago. But it's a really useful technique, especially when you're on a 3-string instrument and you don't have a lot of other things you can do. Anyway, it does it 4 times. On the 4th time it ends on 12 on the middle string, if I remember correctly. And then there's another shot. It's a total of 4 shots. We can also do the next riff on the shot. It goes up to 17, I believe. And then it hits 15 twice. And then it goes to 12. So the first shot. And there's another shot. Now he goes an octave higher. So this might be an opportunity to improvise. And then one last shot. And then you're into the song. And we're not done yet. They added a different lick at the end of the song. So if you make it that far, the lick at the end of the song is D and E. And it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. You could count it like a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. And that's just 3. Pull off. I know. And that brings us into the end of the song. I hope you found that helpful. Have a great day.